I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is another paid request, this time for Nick, who wanted a commentary and a review of the 2001 film Scary Movie 2. More merciless, more shameless. Now, I enjoy the film. Apparently I'm alone in that because not a lot of people enjoy the sequel. I know for those... Let me take a few steps back. The first Scary movie came out in 2000. It was a parody on the slasher films at the time, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, as well as other different horror films, but mainly that slasher genre of that time. And it was very successful. And I had fun with the movie. I got some entertainment out of it. So, because of the success and how huge it was, the Weinsteins... Yes, the Weinsteins, because this was released by Dimension, which was a offshoot of Miramax, subdivision of Miramax. They really wanted the sequel as soon as possible. So I know the Wayans brothers are not happy with the film because they felt it was rushed, because they had to release it 1 year after the first movie. But I had fun with this film. I was watching it again for the commentary. It's not an amazing comedy. It's not a 5 out of 5 star comedy, but I got quite a few chuckles out of it. Not all the jokes work. There's piss jokes that go on for too long, and the first 5 minutes of the film involves that. And again, not all the jokes work, but I still like these actors. A lot of them were committed, as goofy as it is, to the roles they were cast in. Scary Movie 2, what I also enjoy is a lot of the character actors that are involved with this one. You have David Cross from Mr. Show and Arrested Development. You have Tim Curry, the original Pennywise from the 1990 Stephen King's It. You got James Woods at the beginning of the film and a play off The Exorcist. You have Richard Mall from the TV show Night Court. He was in this solid comedy horror film called House in the 80s. He plays the villain in this. You have Chris Elliott, who was in Groundhog Day and Cabin Boy. He plays the guy who's the butler of this mansion with a really fucked up hand. I mean, it was cool to see a lot of these character actors involved with this. And for a film that gets a 5.3 on IMDb, which is lower than Scary Movie 3, I got more laughs out of this than Scary Movie 3. But apparently I'm alone in that. And they've made 5 Scary films. The 5th one, by Malcolm Lee, the director of Space Jam 2, to me is one of Scary Movie 5 is one of the worst comedies ever. So this franchise de-evolved to the shitter. But the first two, with the Wayans brothers involved, still had some fun, some chuckles. Yes, these two fucking jerk-offs, Aaron Seltzer and Jason Friedberg, they were involved with the first Scary Movie. They were involved with this one. I'm on the variety of other writers on this. But at least maybe the Wayans brothers maybe calm them down. Just those two writers are the same people that go on to do epic movie, disaster movie, Meet the all that Meet the Spartan shit. So maybe they're at fault with some of the weaker parts of the writing. But yeah, I think there's a couple reasons why I like the first one, but I like this one more. Like I said, having actors like David Cross and Chris Elliott and Tim Curry and Richard Mall, that was a nice plus for me. Number two, it goes by a fast pace. Like if you take off the end credits, it's like an hour and 14 minutes. Like very quick, goes by very fast. I like the fact, as stupid as it sounds, within the story, that not everybody dies. In fact, really anyone dies. And since I actually like some of these characters, that's nice to see. I like the first one where pretty much everybody dies, but then they're back in the sequel. Because it's a parody, you're not supposed to care about that stuff. But yeah, like you're watching the first one and I'm enjoying it, but then everybody dies. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't. You're not supposed to take it seriously as a parody, but it's like, well, the parodies I enjoy, they do kind of take. Serious is the wrong word, but Hot Shots Part 2 and Loaded Weapon 1 and Airplane 2, the sequel. They still care a little bit about the characters as well as the comedy and throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And that's the thing, like, that was nice to see in this, and the endings felt more satisfying to me compared to the first Scary Movie. And also in this, they try to do a little bit more with special effects because it's more dealing with the paranormal, monsters. Like you have this big marijuana tree that try to roll Marlon Wayans into a giant joint. All done practically. You have the skeleton, and then Regina Hall sees it. It's like, really? Would you be afraid of Calista Flockhart? Which I laughed, but some people might not know who that is Ally McBeal, who's known to be very, very thin. So I didn't. That's a joke that people may not get nowadays, but I got, and I thought it was pretty funny. I did laugh, as mean as that is. And, you know, the setup of the story is this group of cast members, Marlon Wayans, Shawn Wayans, Anna Faris, Regina Hall. You have Christopher Masterson, who is in the TV show Malcolm in the Middle. They are taken to this mansion. Tim Curry is going to do this test, kind of like The Haunting remake with Liam Neeson from 1999, which is one of the variety of movies that's parodied. Hollow Man, which I thought was weird because Hollow Man did not do well, which would mean a lot of people didn't see the film, so they might not have understood the reference within the movie. I guess if you saw the trailers, but I do. I love Hollow Man. I think that's an underrated film with Kevin Bacon. So it was nice to see that as part of it. I just see people watching this and not understanding some of the references. Like there's a bit where, okay, a ball's going down the stairs. That's a take on the Changeling. But then people start playing ball and start doing this to the camera. And you're like, what the fuck's this? It's a parody of a Nike commercial from back in the day. A Nike commercial that most people probably don't even know what the fuck that is. So they may watch and be confused. But what I like is the cast members, they're committed, as goofy as they are, and there are quite a few moments that I did laugh. At the beginning, James Woods, he goes in and sees the Linda Blair type of person, head turning around, and James Woods goes, "Fuck this," and leaves. And apparently that James Woods came up with that, which, good on James Woods. Because I'm like, why the hell is James Woods in this? Because one of my favorite actors. He was in Cop, good action film from... Well, I say action, it's more of a... there's a little bit of action, but it's like a little bit of more of a thriller. But it's a good movie. The Hard Way with him and Michael J. Fox. John Carpenter's Vampires. You could tell that these actors, who are very serious for a lot of the time, from time to time they just want to let loose. And apparently Marlon Brando was going to play that role, but then they paid him. He got pneumonia. They let him keep the money, and then they hired James Woods. And the beginning portion really has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. But if you watch one of the alternate endings, James Woods' character was supposed to come back at the end, but I guess test audiences didn't really like that ending, which I can understand. And then they changed it to... I think it's the better ending. Sad that James Woods is not in it, but I do think ultimately it was the better ending for the story. I don't even... You're not supposed to care about the story and the parody, but still. It's like... I care a little bit about it. At least a little bit. But yeah, that line with James Woods is fun, and it is a lot of the gross out gags, which it's not really my cup of tea. But there were moments even that it did make me chuckle, like the barf scene at the beginning with James Woods. There's a big cum shot joke, which I will admit I'm watching it. I did laugh. I think because of the quick timing and editing of it, it's what made me laugh about it. And when I was talking about like Anna Faris, as goofy as she's told to do in her part in these movies, she's committed. I mean, she's having a boxing match with a cat that's a puppet you see from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And she gets knocked out like it's a Rocky Balboa movie. Marlon Wayans, that trope where you see the chick as she gets closer, it's a ghost lady with a fucked up face. So his idea is put a paper bag and humping her. No, don't take off the bag. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. And yeah, this is a movie that would not get by today, because there's a lot of un-PC stuff. Tori Spelling, which apparently based on the trivia, she was in 3/4 of this movie, but I guess there was a point she was supposed to be topless, but then she said no, and then apparently the studio took most of her footage out. I mean, this is what it says on the trivia. Apparently this is what Tori Spelling says. But there's a point where a ghost shoves his dick in her mouth. You could tell, which I'm not going to do, but she opens up her mouth and you see indentations of her cheek. I'll put it that way. But then she starts liking it. Or she likes it from the get-go, honestly. And then she becomes a stalker against the ghost. That part made me chuckle. But the whole thing with that would never fly today. A ghost dick in someone's mouth? A lady's mouth? Nah. Even Shawn Wayans, technically he has a rape joke. And it's probably the only time I could say a rape joke is funny. Because, remember the clown in Poltergeist? The doll? That makes an appearance and tries to pull Shawn Wayans under the bed. But Shawn, like he was in the first film, even though the character has a girlfriend, you get the idea he's gay or at least bi. So he really likes the clown, and the clown's freaking out. And so when he comes out of the bed, the clowns, they made a face like, oh. And Shawn Wayne's like, we're going to play a game. And yeah, it did make me laugh, I gotta admit. Other points I made, like David Cross, him being a guy who's in a wheelchair, and he's the type of guy that doesn't want any help, he'll do it himself. He has like a wheelchair chase sequence with Richard Mall, and it's done like an action movie. Like, imagine what cars would do, but these are guys doing it with wheelchairs. And there's even a point where they're looking at each other and doves fly by like a John Woo film. Again, not all the jokes work, like when they fly by, pigeon shit on David Cross's face. Like, there's certain moments where it's like, just edit that part out. Just take that little part out here and there. But I mean, I've never seen a wheelchair sequence that's like a car chase action film. That was kind of funny to me. And like I said, there's a lot of references to The Exorcist at the beginning. Like the ball going down the stairs, that's the Changeling with George C. Scott. The setup is a lot like The Haunting from 1999. See, Hannibal, the bit with Ray Liotta where Hannibal got the piece of brain and fed it to him. They reference that, only it's Marlon Wayans, and when they open up, it's Beetlejuice. Not Beetlejuice from the movie, but the artist, the rapper Beetlejuice. But like I said, it did get some chuckles out of me. Like Regina Hall beating the shit out of the skeleton and making fun of it. Their attempts at doing a bit more special effects, like I mentioned, the marijuana plant creature, the skeleton, their take on Hollow Man, where they have these goggles and they're shooting at the ghost. What was that? Oh, David Cross and Chris Elliott. I like their sort of butting into the heads where they keep making fun of each other. One makes fun that the other has a fucked up hand. The other makes fun of, oh, would you like a leg? Because he has no leg. I mean, David Cross and Chris Elliott, I thought, played their roles as well as they could for this type of movie. Other parodies, What Lies Beneath, what the whole, if you've seen the movie, you probably know what scene I'm talking about, They also do a parody of Charlie's Angels, which is funny because Tim Curry was in Charlie's Angels, where the three girls attack Chris Elliott, kind of like when the three girls in Charlie's Angels attacked Crispin Glover's character. I would say even the way it ends, because the way it ended originally was Anna Faris like, oh, everybody's made it. Then James Woods arrives, and the cops, and apparently everybody else is a ghost except Anna Faris. As she screams, no! Then she gets hit by something random, like she did at the end of the first movie. Well, I guess maybe I don't know if it was an audience or someone else said, no, don't really care for that, so then they reshot or additional photography on a new ending months and months later, where the cast made it out just fine, they're alive, it's months later, she's with her boyfriend, there's Chris Elliott, she screams, but then Chris Elliott gets hit. It's actually Marlon Wayans, and the ghost was still the bag on her head. She's like, what was that? Nothing, keep going. Like, that made me laugh, and I thought, okay, that's satisfying. You're not killing off all the characters, and that just bothered. I know it's stupid that bothered me in the first one, but it did. And I even like the soundtrack, like the way it ends. Must be the money. Take a ride with me. Na 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 na. Na, na. Hey, must be the money. Like, I thought that was a fun, upbeat track to end it. It's like a feel-good track for I watched the film. I got some chuckles of it. I like the actors. It's only, again, an hour and 14 minutes, and I like that song. As they're showing, the cast members. There's a foul-mouthed bird that got some chuckles out of me. Was talking shit to David Cross. Like, fuck off, Four Eyes. And then talking shit to Marlon Wayans' character. There's quite a few deleted scenes, which I just showcased why the film was so short Just they took a lot of these scenes out of the movie. I didn't like a lot of these comedies. Not all the jokes work. I mean, at the beginning with the actress's parody, James Woods arrives. Before then, you have the Reagan type of possessed child pissing for like a full minute or two. And then Veronica Cartwright from Alien and the 70s Invasion of the Body Snatchers, she takes the girl and puts her head like you would a dog, and bad girl, bad. Lame. Didn't really care for it, didn't find it funny. And then James Woods is on the toilet, and you have the flies on his face like the Amityville Horror. It happened to Rod Steiger. But here it's happened because he's taking a shit. Like, the first 5 minutes is a bit rough. When it gets to, like I said, James Woods going in and saying, fuck this, and leaving. And again, kudos to the James Woods for coming up with that bit. That's when the movie works more for me. And also, I like the fact that a lot of this takes place in one location, so it seems like you get the characters interacting a bit more with each other compared with the first one, because the first one, they're all over the place, but in the second one, it's much more contained. And again, it just seemed like the characters were a bit more on screen together. At least that's what it seemed like. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a fun movie. And actually, I'm looking through the DVD. You have... Number one, do you remember when you had DVDs? Number two, do you remember when they actually put stuff like this in there? With the scene selections? Handy Caretaker. That's the Chris Elliott with his little hand. Hanson's Feast. That's where he's getting all the food and he's touching everything. So it's making people more and more pissed. I don't need your help. That's what David Cross keeps going, trying to... I don't need your help. I'll get up these stairs. And each time he gets up the stairs, he fucking slams all the way back down. Ghost in Love. And then Tori Spelling's like obsessed and is stalking the ghost. And Richard Moll's like, leave me alone. The Charlie's Angels bit seemed to... almost out of place for this kind of movie. It's okay you throw it in there because it was a big movie that came out at that time. And it's like, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the cover. I forgot Andy Richter, who worked with Conan O'Brien on his talk show. He's also at the beginning with James Woods. I looked at this, like, some of the references... Well, I guess they're in there. Like, one looks like Hannibal, and there's a reference to Hannibal. What Lies Beneath, there's a reference to that movie. And actually, this had advertisements. I forgot that. Dimension Home Video. Well, I'll take a look at it for a little bit. I know it's not part of the review, but just a look. DVD Collector's Guide. So we got Scary Movie, the first one. Well, some of the actors don't come back. I don't know if it was by design, by choice, or something else happened. Like this guy... right there. Yeah, right by my finger right there. He doesn't come back for the sequel. He would appear in a few other movies. He was in Freddy vs. Jason as the cop who Jason grabbed and electrocuted. Somewhere in like the middle to third act of the film. Like, he doesn't come back. This guy... Yeah, this guy in the front... Really, these two people at the front there, they don't come back. Let's see, other movies at this time. Dracula 2000, if you remember that movie. Which isn't that great of a film. The interesting thing is Gerard Butler as Dracula. Yes, Gerard Butler as Dracula. Then you had the Crow franchise on DVD. At this point, it was only 3 movies. This is before they made the 4th one. Jet Li DVDs you get. The Defender, Fist of Legend, The Enforcer, Twin Warriors, The Legend 2, and The Legend Part 1. And a 4-disc set that includes The Defender, Fist of Legend, Jet Li's The Enforcer, and Twin Warriors. I would say the best of these would be Fist of Legend. And then we got Jackie Chan. Which actually, one of them I have right here. Legend of Drunken Master. Crime Story, Project A, Operation Condor 2, Super Cop 2, Twin Dragons. And then a lot of movies. The Proposal with Jennifer Esposito, Blackjack with Dolph Lundgren, No Code of Conduct with Charlie Sheen, Bounty Hunters 1 and 2 with Michael Dudikoff, Reindeer Games with Ben Affleck. There we go, right there. And then Men of War. I would say my favorite of these, yeah, would be Men of War, From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, Phantoms. The Faculty's a good one. Highlander 3, Highlander 4, The Prophecy 2, Prophecy 3. I Got the Hookup, Senseless with Marlon Wayans. Speaking of Marlon Wayans. It's actually kind of cool memento to keep. You know, from back in the day. Interesting. Probably not interesting to me, so sorry I wasted people's time there. But yeah, Steer Movie 2, that was a fun sequel. I got some chuckles and laughs out of it. The bit with Shawn Wayans versus the Poltergeist doll, that did make me laugh. Then David Cross, this guy here, he was entertaining. This guy there in the wheelchair. Yeah, I thought they did a fun job and very quick pace. I mean, again, and only an hour and 14 minutes of your time. Yeah, it may have been rushed, but I don't know. I don't think it was that substantially worse than Scary Movie 1. I don't think Scary Movie 3 is better. But, hey, 5.3, I think that's a little low. I don't know why there's a reference to Castaway, because there's no Castaway reference in the movie. Because that's a reference to Wilson. I know the original tagline was "We Lied," because the tagline for the first film was "No Sequel." Like, no blind, no mercy, no shame, no sequel. And then the tagline here was going to be "We Lied." But they went for more merciless, more shameless. So, there you go. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.